Hello, everybody. Welcome to the second session of the course of leadership in California Miramar University. This is Dr. Tagavi, your instructor, and I'm a little late. I have an appointment, 11:30. So sorry, there were some problems, but now we will begin two chapters of your book, chapter 3 and chapter 4. And I want to do it in two parts because it's very long for back to back. So the first part is the foundation of modern leadership, as you see, and approaches to leadership. In leadership, sometimes like psychology, we have three approaches to leadership. For example, in psychology, we have 5 approaches to a human being. Past life history is it's called psychodynamic, or observable, it is behavioral, or mindset, it is cognitive, or your body, it is biological, and your mental experience, it is phenomenological. And in leadership, we have three approach to leadership: the trait approach, the behavior approach, and the contingency approach. In trait approach, we are talking about the innate mother-born qualities. In behavior approach, we are concentrate on observation and measurement, everything which is observable and measurable. And in contingency approach, we concentrate on the situations and situational elements. In trait approach, they believe that leaders are born rather than made. It's a proverb that the successful peoples are made rather than born. And this trait approach is a very classical approach to leadership, also in human being, that shows and says that you have some intrinsic, some innate features, innate traits that will prepare you for some types of jobs, some types of personalities, some types of interactions. It is a very concentration on your nature, not your nurture. They believe that leaders are born rather than made. Innate qualities shape human personality and behavior. It is not acquisition, it is innate. Leaders, by virtue of their birth, were endowed with special qualities that allowed them to lead others. Mother-born leaders. These special characteristics were presumed to push them toward leadership, regardless of the context. As we know, the human being is a biopsychosocial-spiritual being: biological body, psychological mind, society, social, we are social people, and also spiritual or sometimes moral aspects of our being. So it is very old, and honestly, it is not research-based. Also, sometimes, I will tell you that sometimes in some research, they have bias, attentional bias to finding the facts. Research finding, the major assumption in research for a trait approach, the major assumption, if certain traits distinguish between leaders and the followers, there are certain traits that leaders have and the followers don't have. The existing political, industrial, and religious leaders should possess them. Okay, there are some basic features for leaders. Now, for example, existing leader should have those features. More than 40 years of study provided legal evidence to justify the assertion that leaders are born. I have a good news for you. Leaders are not born. Leaders are made. Have a good news for you. And have a heavy relationship and have a very connection to yourself, self-relationship, and also commitment, responsibility, accountability for you. That, sorry, you can be made as a leader. And leadership can be explained through one or more traits. Okay, some traits are general in all leaders, but everybody has the same traits will not become absolutely a leader. But yes, all the leaders have some common traits. And then the other parts, as happened in psychology, history of psychology, after psychodynamic and Freudian approach to past life history, the scientific method of chemistry and physics and other observable and objective science were used in psychology. And that generation of psychologists says that everything which is measurable and observable, it is mind. It is the issue, it is the matter of research. So they deny the cognition, they deny the perception, they deny or reject the feelings and all the things. It was behavioral approach or behaviorism. And there were some good movies about this. For example, a lot of movies were made in that time for the movement of behaviorism. Instead of identifying who would be an effective leader, it is not concentration on who. The behavior approach emphasizes what an effective leader does. It is not about being. Behavioral approach in leadership is not related to your being. It is related to what you do, the actions of the leaders, the behaviors of the leaders, not the personality of the leader, not the traits of the leader. Advantages of behavior approach over a trait approach. Behaviors can be observed readily. Okay, that's good. How you define a leader? By his or her leadership skills, by his or her leadership actions, by his or her apparent leadership behaviors. 2, behaviors can be consistently measured as the other parts of science. I can see your action, I can see your behaviors. I have my tools for measurement, for assessment, your behavior. Behavior can be taught through a variety of methods. It is teachable. I can repeat again for other people. So in this approach, we assume that leaders are made, and leaders are good learners. And if there is a good coach over a leader or a future leader, we can make a leader. Behavioral approach is based upon the Levin's leadership studies and leadership and research. And finally, we have Levin's leadership styles, foundation for the behavioral approach to leadership. Democratic leaders, autocratic leaders, and laissez-faire leaders. Democratic leaders, like other democratic personality, democratic society, democratic carriers, democratic parents, consult their followers and allow them to participate in decision making. Democracy, the basic principle of democracy is decision making. 2, autocratic leaders. Autocratic leaders, as you see in the label, there's a word of auto, autocratic leader. Auto is self-centered, it is ego-centered. He or she as a leader knows himself or herself as a center and sense of importance for other behaviors, others' behaviors. Okay, autocratic leaders make decision alone. No consultation, no counseling, no considering your point of view. And lessons for leaders is provide no direction and do not become involved with their followers. Honestly, when you are a laissez-faire leader, you are not a leader. You have some followers, but you are not leader because you cannot and you will not lead them. You are not involved with them. So laissez-faire leaders, really, they are not leaders. Yes, they are in front of a movement. They are in front of a population. Yes, they have some followers, but they didn't have any features of leading. They don't lead anyone. They are laissez-faire leaders. And the second, after trait approach and after behavioral approach, it is contingency approach. In contingency approach, the primary assumption is the personality, style, or behavior of effective leaders depends on the requirements of the situation in which the leaders find themselves. You have heard it, right at time, right place, and right person, situation. Contingency approach has a great and a heavy and severe emphasis on situations, on environmental situations. Others suggestion there is no best way to lead. The situation and the various relevant contextual factors determine which style or behavior is most effective. We have something so-called strategy. Strategy, one of the meaning of a strategy is that I determine and I know about my act as a react. I'm not the first one. In reaction to situation, in reaction to your action, in reaction to my conditions, circumstances, I have an act. So my act is a react. It is one part of the definition of a strategy. So where you say there is no one best way to lead, okay, you are going out of the best ways to lead people. Why? Because the best way is for the certain circumstances, certain conditions, certain situation. Uncertainty principle says that there is nothing certain but uncertainty. People can learn to become good leaders. Okay, that's good. There is no absolute good way for leadership based upon the contingency approach. But there are a lot of approaches, there are a lot of methods, there are a lot of manners to do leadership in a good position, in a good situation, in a proper situation, in a proper position. And after that, you can learn it. It is not trait-based. And also it is not only measurable and observable. Okay, you can learn it. Leadership make a difference in the effectiveness of groups and organization. One important element of good relationship, of good leadership is effectiveness. And personal and situational characteristics affect leadership effectiveness. It's a combination. Personal features from behavioral, from trait approach, effectiveness of your behavior from behavior approach, and the interaction with your traits, with your situation, and with your behaviors, it is contingency approach. Fiedler's contingency model is the most famous model in the contingency approach. Fiedler's basic premise is that leadership effectiveness is a function of the match between the leader's style and leadership situation. The word match is the basic and most significant and main core of the Fiedler's contingency model. If the leader's style matches the situation, the leader will be effective. Otherwise, the leader will not be effective. So, in this approach, we don't have any good leadership style or bad leadership style, old leadership style or modern leadership. No, it is only matched or mismatched leadership style. Match between one, leadership style and situation. Match or mismatch, compatible or incompatible. Fiedler used a scale that is least preferred coworker, LPC scale, a measure that determines whether the leader is primarily motivated by task accomplishment or maintaining relationships. In other types of typology of personality in management and leadership, we have something like it. For example, in DISC, DISC, when you are talking about the dominant and influencer, dominants are task-based. The task, the works, and the outcome of the organization is very, very important for dominant. For influencer, personnels and staffs and employees are more important than tasks. It is not good or bad. It is different styles of management, different styles of leadership, different styles of leading even. The leadership is a main part of every action you have in life. So in Fiedler contingency model, you see task-motivated people and relationship-motivated people. When you are task-motivated people or leaders or manager, you have low LPC. Least preferred coworker scale is low. When you are relationship-motivated, your LPC score is high. Some differences between them. Task-motivated people draw self-esteem from completion of task. But the self-esteem of the relationship-motivated people is from interpersonal relationship. Where and when, as a task-motivated manager, as a task-motivated person, I have a good self-esteem when I accomplish my task. When and where, as a relationship-motivated manager, relationship-motivated personnel or employee, I have a good self-esteem when I have good interpersonal relationship. Persons and humans are more important than tasks, than jobs, than works, than money for me. It is relationship motivated, not task motivated. And task motivated obviously focuses on the task first. On the other side, relationship motivated people focuses on people at first. First ranking is people. For task motivated people, first ranking is task. And task motivated people can be harsh with failing employees, but like to please others. And the other side, relationship motivated. And task motivated consider competence of co-workers. I want a good and effective employee. Your competency is more important than your loyalty. But on the other side, relationship motivated people consider loyalty of co-workers. to be a key trait. It is very important. Key trait. The scale of choosing people who as a co-worker. And task-motivated people enjoy details. Ooh, they love details. Sometimes they have obsessive mind. Sometimes, not as a pathology or a clinical measurement, but as a trait. Sometimes task-motivated people are so obsessive. They have obsession mind. And in the other side, relationship-motivated people get bored with details. They love whole, they love total definition, not details. And effective situational elements to describe a leadership situation. 1, LMR, 2, TS, and 3, PP. Effective situational elements to describing a leadership situation. How and what elements is good, is useful, is helpful for describe a leadership situation based upon the Fiedler's contingency model. At first, leader-member relations. How is your relationship with your member, with your co-worker, with your employee? 2, what is the structure of task you want your employee, you want your coworker to do, and you want to lead the task? And 3, position power of the leader. It is very, very, very important. Authority, position power. How, for example, when we say how employee and how co-workers look at your position power, for example, when you are task motivated, your position power is very high and autocratic, not democratic. Why? Because the task is important for you. If you cannot do my task, you cannot do my job, if you cannot do my task or perform your jobs, okay, please go out of my organization. You get fired. But when I am relationship oriented, the persons, the people, the relationships are more important for me than the jobs, than the task, than the organization. Okay. As a leader, I am a humanistic leader. As a power situation, sometimes, not always, sometimes maybe I will be in a bad and in a weak power situation. The combination of LMR, TS, and PP yields the amount of situational control or sitcom the leader has over the situation. Please have a good attention to this phrase in your book, in your textbook, sitcom, and read about it in your book. It is the matching. Yeah. If the leader's style matches the situation, the group will be effective because leader's style is constant. A leader's effectiveness changes as the situation changes. So, contingency model, specifically Fiedler contingency model, is a matter of matching. Matching between leader's style and leadership style and situational position. And this matching will be in a unique phrase as situational control, the combination of leader-member relations, task structure, and position power of the leader. Low LPC, task-motivated leaders, and a high LPC, as I said before to you, relationship-motivated leaders. Okay, low LPC, task-motivated, will be effective in high and low sitcom. Why? Task is important. It is not important that you can do it or not. My task is important for me. Then you, as my employee, as a human being, it's not bad or good, but it is not very easy to work with task-motivated leaders. They absolutely end their task, absolutely. But working with them is very, very task-oriented, very task-oriented. In the other side, high LPC, relationship-motivated leaders will be effective in moderate situational console or sitcom. So, as a manager, as a future leader, as an owner even, when you want to choose a leader, one of the things for your company, for your organization, for your movement, everything, when you want to choose someone to lead your organization, your company, you should know about the complexity of the task you want your leader to do in your organization, to lead in your organization. If your organizational tasks are very complicated, are very high, or maybe very low, it is critical, it is always in crisis position, okay, you should choose a task-motivated and task-oriented leader. But it's regular, if it is regular, not a very high or very low or a very critical point for your organization, you can choose also for daily and routine and pre-programmed situations. Yes, relationship motivated leaders or relationship oriented leaders are very good. And implication for managers for Fiedler's contingency model, leaders must understand their style, self-knowledge, and the situation your style and your situation. Why? To predict how effective they will be. Is it match or mismatch? Leaders should focus on changing the situation to match their style instead of trying to change how they act. It's a great mistake that you want to change yourself, to match yourself to a new and mismatched situation. Why? Because after ending this situation, the next situation will be another different situation. You should again change yourself. It is not realistic and it is not easy. So instead of changing yourself as a leader and changing your leadership style, you should concentrate on the situation. And a good relationship with followers is very important to a leader's ability to lead. Why? Because it can compensate for lack of power. Yes, one of the tools you can change the situation. And basically, one of the most important elements of your mismatch situation with your leadership style is your followers. Followers are your tools to change, and sometimes are the change object. They are the same people that you want to change. So if you encourage them to change themselves or change the situation that they are in, you will have good position to match your leadership style to your, for example, situation. And leaders can compensate for ambiguity of a task by gaining training and experience. We will talk about it on the next sessions and also in this session. One of the dark part of the mind is ambiguity tolerance. It's very, very important for everybody to know about his or her ambiguity tolerance degree and ambiguity tolerance scale. And ambiguity is a natural and obvious part of the human life. A lot of things. We can have some prediction about that, but it can be changeable in the future. So leaders can compensate for ambiguity of a task by getting training and experience. It's very good. At one side, you try to change your followers, to change your situation, to match the situation and followers with your leadership style. At the other side, for reducing your ambiguity about the future, about your job, about the conditions, you try to reduce it by training yourself, by experiencing the new method and new situation. Finally, mismatching between your style, leadership style, and present situation will reduce. Okay. We have another model. It is normative decision model, or NDM, developed by researchers Victor Vroom and Philippe Yeton and Arthur Jacob. Other name of NDM is Vroom-Yeton model. Is limited to decision making. Not all parts of leadership is decision making. Not all parts of leadership are problem solving. No, not all parts of leadership is, for example, challenging. Every detail has its location, its portion of leadership style and leadership activity and leadership success. So this model, normative decision model, very concentrate on the process of decision making, is limited to decision making rather than general leadership, and prescribe when the leader needs to involve followers in decision making. For example, you can see a family as a very basic and also very important organization. And traditionally, one of the parents, and traditionally maybe fathers, are the leader of the family, traditionally. In the modern society, the roles has been switched from fathers to mothers, from mothers to fathers. Well, traditionally, your father is your family manager or your family leader. NDM, normative decision model, talks about that the process of, for example, decision making in a family. Do you know and do you ask the other family members' opinion about something? Do you have a heavy load, a heavy weight for their opinion, their point of view, or not, only hearing? Do you use their opinion in your decision making as a father, as a mother, as a family leader, or not? You are autocratic and your decision making is by your own self. There's something about it. The NDM recommends that leaders adjust their decision style depending on the degree to which the quality of the decision is important and the likelihood that employees would accept the decision. When you make a decision in an organization, you have to talk about it. You can talk about it with your employees, with your personnel, with your staffs in different methods. One of them is announcing and lecture about it, or written announcement and other things. Honestly, a lot of times your employees, your co-workers, your colleagues doesn't accept the logic behind your decision. It is because of your power situation, not because of your logical thinking about the situation, no, analytical. It's very bad because the first time they can reject your decision, they will reject. It is not logical for them. So, 4 decision methods are here: autocratics, consultation, group, and delegation. The leader makes a decision with little or no involvement from follower. It's autocratic. We talked about before. The leader consults with follower, yet retains the final decision-making authority. Authority. It is consultation. You say your views to me, but the final decision is by me. Group, the leader relies on consensus building to solve a problem. And total delegation of decision making to one employee. Central contingency factors are the quality of decision in this approach, in normative decision model. The central contingency factors are the quality of decision and the need for acceptance as committed by followers. It's very, very important in an organization, very important. That your followers, that your employees, that your colleagues, that your students, that your co-workers, at first, accept your decisions. Two, have a commitment to obey the decision, to do the decision, to perform your decision. Both of them. So the quality of decision and the process of decision making is very, very important. So we talk about the normative decision making model. So contingency factor in NDM are quality requirement, commitment requirement, leader information, structure of the problem, commitment probability, goal congruence, employee conflict, and subordinate information. These are 8 contingency factors in the NDM. And practical implications of contingency factors in NDM are leaders must understand that the situation and understand how and when to use the different decision methods. Matching between situation, not with your leadership style, with the how and when to use the different decision methods. Participation is not always desirable as a leadership style. Yes? Who has said that participation is the best and forever best leadership style? Sometimes it's good, sometimes it is not. Matching with your style, with your circumstances, with your situation. And leaders must pay particular attention to their followers' needs and reactions when making decisions. Take care of your followers' needs when you are making a decision, because they are your followers and they can destroy your way to achieve your goals. They are your followers. And they can also, on the other side, empower you to achieve your goals because they are your followers, they are your co-workers, they are your colleagues, they are your friends, your family members. They can build or destroy the way, the future pathway to the goals and to your decisions. And just that, we say another theory, it is path-goal theory. The basic part of path-goal theory is expectancy theory. Expectancy theory says that individuals make rational choices, intellectual choices, based on their perception of the degree to which their effort and performance can lead to outcomes they value. So, expectation and expectancy is very important. Why? When you are motivated, when you think the work, the job, the action you are doing will end to your values, will end to your outcomes which are valuable for you. expectancy theory says individuals make rational choices. When you have a good support, good emotional support, when you think that something is valuable for you, one part is intellectual and cognitive, and the major part is not intellectual or cognitive, it is emotional. You have a good feeling about your future and desirable outcome. Path goal theory says the nature of the task and the follower characteristics determines which leadership behavior contributes to subordinate satisfactions. Okay, I'm your leader. I want to lead you to some point of achievement, for example. If I talk to you about something which is not very valuable for you, you are not motivated to follow me. If I don't want to have an autocratic, to be an autocratic leader, to have an autocratic leadership style. I don't want to have force on you, to push you, and to forward you to my organization or my movement or my intellectual goals. Okay, I want you to follow me on your rationale. So it is path goal theory. When goals are desirable for you, you will pass the path. Leader's role is to clear the path subordinate use to accomplish goals. My leadership style, my role as a leader is to clear the path. You want to go for accomplish and for achieving your goal. It is attainment process, attainment path, attainment way. I want to clean it and clear it for you. You are going on yourself. You are going on your own way. I clear the path for the goals you have determined before for yourself as the valuable goals. It is focusing on guidance and support the followers. It is not really just the traditional imagination of leadership, because goal setting is not directly doing by the leaders. Goal setting is directly doing by the followers. And sometimes leaders are helper to set the goals, to set your valuable goals, not my valuable goals as the leader, your valuable goals as the follower. I only support your movement, support your act, support your feelings, support your intellectuality and guidance. And I am something like team leader, not organizational. You have, or you as a team, or you as one person, individual person, or group, or team, or organization, have pre-programmed or predefined goals. I only remove the obstacles. I'm obstacle remover. The next theory is SLM, substitutes for leadership model. SLM proposed that various organizational tasks and employee characteristics can provide substitutes for the traditional leadership behaviors of consideration and initiation of structure. So 3 neutralizer or 3 substitutes are follower characteristics, task characteristics, and organizational characteristics. What mean the substitute or neutralizer? Sometimes we have a good leader. You have an experienced leader, a very experienced leader and good leader, and with a good knowledge, with a good experience, with a lot of years to work in the field of leadership. But you see that in a specific organization, this leader cannot work so good. Why? You ask. He's a king of leaders. He's very famous. He's very successful. Why? Because for leading an organization, for leading a society, for leading a community, for leading a family, it is not enough to have only skills and knowledge and even experience. Other people are human beings. And the interaction of other peoples has its own efficiency. It is task, interaction between other peoples. And how organized, hidden, or apparent the interaction, its organization, follower characteristic, task characteristic, organizational characteristic. It questions the need for leadership in certain situations and points to the difficulty of being an effective leader when many neutralizers are present. It's very hard for you to talk to a person that doesn't want to hear, to listen to you. Somebody is asleep. Somebody is showing that he or she is asleep. The second one is very, very hard to make him wake up. It's very hard. He is managing, he is manipulating, he is pretending that I'm asleep. He or she doesn't want to wake up. This is very hard. It is a neutralizer. For example, if you guide someone that don't need to your guidance, that don't want your guidance, okay, it is very hard. It's a neutralizer. Based on this model, leadership training might need to focus on teaching the leader to change the situation as much as it focuses on teaching effective leadership behaviors. Leaders can be taught how to set up, substitute, and avoid neutralizer. An LMX model, leader-member exchange model, focuses on the unique relationship-based exchange between a leader and followers. As you see in all the modern and effective and new leadership models, human beings are important more than tasks, as the leadership, not as being a chef, not as being a boss, not even as being a manager. As a leader, human relationships and quality of human relationships, charismatic characteristic of the leader is more important than the knowledge of the leaders. So for the members of the in-group, such a high-quality exchange often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy and leads to high performance, high satisfaction, and low stress. So good. For the members of the in-group, the leader might perceive them as less motivated or less competent, interact with them less, provide them with few opportunities to perform, to promote them less often. You see the picture here, the leader-member exchange model. In-group, out-group. In-group viewed as competent, trustworthy, and highly motivated, and out-group are viewed as incompetent, untrustworthy, and poorly motivated. Stage of relationship development between leaders and their followers. There are 3 stages of development, the relationship with you as a leader and your follower. First stage is testing and assessment. Assessment, gathering information. We're testing each other and gathering information about each other that if we are matched together as the follower and as a leader. After that assessment is good, our evaluation is good based upon our assessment, our gathering information, our data collection. After that, it is building the trust between us, development of trust. And after that, the last part, the last stage is creation of emotional bond. Something like love, something like respect, something like attention. It is emotional bond, good feeling, to be with your leader, to be with your follower, emotional bond. General principles in creating in-groups and out-groups and in selecting their membership by leaders are: pick in-group members based on competence and contribution to the organization. 2, important word for an organizational membership: competence and contribution. Thanks a lot if you have a good contribution to other people. But if you are not competent, you are not good for our organization. And again, thanks a lot for the competencies. Thanks. But an organization, it is not desert. It is not loneliness. It is organization working together for gaining a common and pre-programmed aim and goal. Okay, if you don't have any contribution, you are a competent employee, but you are not good co-workers, because that part of from co-worker is not on you. You don't have any contribution. And periodically evaluate your criteria for in-group and out-group membership. Assign tasks to persons with the most applicable skills, regardless of group membership. It's very important. Set clear performance-related guidelines for in-group membership. Avoid highly differentiated in-groups and out-groups. Differentiation can destroy any type of leadership style. Keep membership flow to allow movement in and out of the groups and maintain different in-groups for different activities. Thanks for attention until this part, and after some time I will get back and